Hello, important historical figures. Today we're going to talk about chord functions, which are the sort of categories that we put chords into, where each of the chords in that same category are sort of interchangeable and have a lot of notes in common with each other. Let's get into it. First of all, there are three categories here, three chord functions. There's tonic, subdominant, and dominant. Alright, so check this out. Tonic chords are 1, 3, and 6. And they all have loads of notes in common with each other, and you can kind of switch them out. They're interchangeable almost. Obviously they do sound a little bit different, but you can interchange them, and it does work. I'll show you why. Check this out. If we start with our 1 chord, let's do the key of C. It's the people's key, you know? The notes of the 1 chord are C, E, and G. That's a C major triad. If we threw a major 7 on that, just for the hell of it, C, E, G, B. But now check this out. If I hide C, we have an E minor chord, which is the 3. It's another tonic chord. So that's almost the same chord right there, right? And if I go a third below that, put an A down here, below this C major chord, look at this, A, C, E, G, that's a A minor 7. That's our 6th chord, right? So, and this sort of relationship where these chords all have all the same notes is true for each of these categories individually. So anyway, tonic is 1, 3, and 6. Subdominant is the 2 and the 4 chords, right? And this is the same thing. D minor is D, F, A, and we go D minor 7, throw a C on there, hide the D, and we got F major, right? Which is the 4 chord. So that's the subdominant. Last category, dominant chords, are the 5 and the 7 diminished chord. Yeah, and just for thoroughness, 5 chord is G, B, D. We'll throw an F on there for 5, 7, you know, and then we hide the G, and look at that, B, D, F, that's R7. Yeah, so there are a lot of educators and texts out there that will tell you a lot of things about tonic chord can go to subdominant, subdominant can go to tonic, tonic can go to dominant, dominant can go to tonic, but subdominant also tends to go. There's a lot of rules about that stuff, but those rules don't seem to stand up all the time, except for one rule. 5, 7, which is, you know, that's a dominant chord, has a tendency to go to 1, which is a tonic chord. The 5 chord wants to go to 1. Let me just play you an example of that. Here we go. So check it out. Here's G7. Now, we have this really strong pull, especially because of this tritone that exists in this 5 chord, right? This is between the B and the F, since we're in the key of C, right? G, B, D, and F. Between these 2 notes, we have a tritone, which is very dissonant. It's tough to just hang out and do tritones. Pretty rough. So that tension resolves very nicely when you go back to the 1 chord. 1. Right? Now we're done. That's the end of the tune. So this is a strong tendency, and I think I even used the word rule earlier, but I want to stress that this is not a rule. This is a tendency that you can abuse and undermine, right? Like, for example, if we take our G7 chord, and we know that it has this strong pull back to the 1, we can then go somewhere else and undermine that expectation, right? Check this out. I'm gonna go to the flat 2 major 7 chord. It's gonna be really cool. Whoa! And then let's go down to 1. Pretty cool, right? So you can use this tendency of the 5 chord going to 1. As a rule, you can just go 5 to 1, right? People do that all the time. Or you could interrupt this pattern and do something else, you know? The other thing that is pretty common is that the 5 chord will be preceded by a subdominant chord. So 2, for example, right? 2, 5, 1. Or 4, 5, 1. That's another super common one. Yeah, either one. Yeah, and this is what we call a perfect cadence. I'm not going to get into cadences now. But this is a great place to start, and then again, subvert it, change it, do other stuff to it. But this is a good baseline, you know? And you can, you know, swap these around, shuffle them around. There aren't rules in music, right? This is just a description of stuff that people do often, right? You don't have to do this. Change it up. But no, this is a good place to start, you know? That's chord functions. You're smarter than you were 5 minutes ago. Congratulations. Like and subscribe. And if you're interested in private lessons, hit me up at raymclessons@gmail.com. That is raymclessons@gmail.com. I'm accepting new students now. So email me. Hit me up. We'll talk about music. It'll be fun. Have a nice day. See you later.